Dr. Knag, Frankfurt, high-rise building, wow.
Dr. Bilo, yes, Frankfurt, center of Frankfurt, super dense site. I don't have any space to store material. We parked the car in the middle of that, super nice. We're going to talk to Jürgen Schmidt. He's one of the key figures at a company called APP, which is a facade manufacturing company. They do a lot of interesting projects. And here we're going to see a construction site nearly finished. Super good to discuss.
Yeah, I've seen the art. Perfect, cool. Let's have a look.
Okay, construction site. This is a real construction site. Logistics, transport, scaffolding, installation, how things are done. And then that the site as itself, logistics, transport, scaffolding, the installation, how to get it in position. And then on site, one of the key figures or key aspects, troubleshooting, make sure that things work, safety, and how to finish it. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about. Okay. Right, we are at a construction site. We're actually on a scaffolding. Super interesting. You should be able to see that somehow moving. Well, we are moving, the cameras are fixed, so the main structure is kind of moves. Super interesting to see different types of systems. We're going to talk about which systems are you using and why are you using these systems.
We have actually two cladding types. It's a standard unitized system on the top floors, and on the ground floors we have a stick system.
So, unitized system at the top part, stick system at the bottom part. How do you fix these systems to the main structure? Main structure is concrete, I guess?
Main structure is concrete, that's correct. It's actually tensioned concrete floors, so they can do them smaller than usual precast. And we fix like steel brackets to the structure. And then we hang, the unitized system is basically hung into those brackets, and then we can adjust them with screws to bring them into position.
So unitized system, one of this is a unitized system. It's hung there and then you adjust it and move it by the brackets which take the positions.
Yeah, left and right is already fixed. So you have to be very precise when fixing those brackets. But up and down you can do when they are installed, you can still adjust them a little bit up and down.
Okay, and then the bottom part, which is a stick system, again concrete floors. And then I assume there's some movement in the concrete floor, so you somehow need to make sure the main structure is not giving its load to the aluminium system, the facade system.
Yeah, that's correct. That's why we are using stick system on the ground floors, because of the movement of the building. So basically the top elements, they are hung, and on the ground floor it's standing. It's a standing system, so you have you can actually, the building can still move, and the facade is independent from the movement of the buildings because it's standing on the ground floor, and you have like a bracket.
Okay, let's take. We brought a bracket. So this is the bracket. Okay, this is fixed to the top part.
This is fixed to the top part.
And this is the aluminium profile, which is then sliding in here.
Exactly.
It's not getting at the top, it stays here.
So the building can move and the stick system is still standing.
Okay, good. Second key question, we're now at site. So the whole thing needs to be installed. It needs to be manufactured, brought to the site. You need to discuss logistics and then say it has to be brought in position, so you need a scaffolding. How does that work? What are the process steps you're taking care of?
Well, the unitized system, the biggest advantage is that we can fabricate everything in our manufacturing place down south in Germany. And we have all the quality under control. We can fix the whole units together, including the glass, and it's then and we bring it into containers. And we bring it to site just in time. That is the biggest advantage with unitized system. You don't need a scaffolding. You can install it with a crane directly, basically from the lorry, and you hang it to the building.
So no space needed at the construction site. So this works well for dense areas, urban areas where you don't have any space to store things.
That's correct, yeah, especially like high-rise buildings and in city centers like this, you don't have a lot of space around the building anyway. You need a little bit because sometimes you cannot install because of wind or weather conditions. So you need a little bit of a space.
Okay, stick system, unitized system, We talked about now stick system at the bottom part.
Yeah.
This is partly prefabricated, but then it's brought in pieces to the site and then it needs to be installed. How's that done?
Yeah, basically everything comes in bits and pieces. We install like mullions, transoms, and then after you have measured it and fixed it, then you can install the glass. And after you install the glass, then you have the pressure plates from the outside. At the minute, there's only temporary fixings, and then at the end, you fix the pressure plates, and then it's basically done.
That's what we see over there. The glass is already brought in position. They have this temporary fixing, which just keeps in position. Yeah. And then next step is having this vertical or horizontal lines, pressure plates, which fix them. All right, unitized system hung on the crane, brought in position. You don't need a scaffolding. We are now at floor 2 or 3, so you may need a scaffolding to get the stick system installed. How is that done?
Yes, you can do that with a scaffolding, or which is most of the time easier to do, is like a scissor lift or a cherry picker. But it always depends on the ground floor conditions. If it's accessibility, if you can drive with a scissor lift, or sometimes you need to build a scaffolding in place. But then,
so this is where we have the scissor lift as an opportunity, but there we see the scaffolding being used because of what reason? Why?
Well, scaffolding has a few advantages. You can work on different levels at the same time. With a scissor lift, you can only work at one place at one time. Yeah. So you're a lot faster. The disadvantage on the scaffolding is you have to fix it to the building. So you can only install certain areas, and then you have to bring the scaffold down and then bring the glass in to
finally fix it. All right. Now, really at the site, getting the site running. Yes, you need your team, you need people installing it, you need to organize that the things are coming in time, delivered by the truck at the place. But then things go wrong. What do you do?
The most important.
First answer is nothing goes wrong. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I mean, our engineering is done very precise, and our system works very precise. So our part should really not go wrong. The only thing which does go wrong is all the interfaces with other companies. That's the biggest challenge on site.
Interesting comment. So the interface between the one and the other discipline, that's the main challenge. So that's the unitized system. Then we see the transparent part, which is here. I see it's an IGU, insulated glass unit. So it's 2 layers, or is it 3 layers?
I think it's triple glazed.
It's triple glazed. Is it triple glazed? Yeah. Triple glazed.
Yeah. I mean, we are only doing triple glazed these days. There's not many sites where you have double glazed units, right?
So triple glazed unit here, and that's the transparent part. And then there's this blind part, which is, I would assume, in front of the concrete ceiling.
That's correct.
Okay, and that's not triple glazed.
Also triple glazed.
So it's simpler to have a triple glazed instead of having insulation or something at the back. Yeah. And then, why this? Why is this not one piece? Why is it in 2 pieces? Manufacturing consequences.
No, that's because this glass has a printing and this one is without printing, and it would be harder to do one glass with a printing and then have that line. I think that was, and you need the transom for the connection to the floor.
For the floor.
Yeah.
I see. And how is it sealed?
It's actually structural sealing, also done in our manufacturing with Dow Corning or Sika standard silicon.
Watertight forever.
Watertight forever.
I'm gonna test.
Don't touch it.
Uli, you can't test water tightness with a screwdriver.
But I can break it.
Yeah, of course you can.